Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Greetings, everyone out there in podcast land, and welcome to Heaping Spoonful. I'm your host, Kelly Bass, and I really appreciate Benny Keith Foods giving me the chance to visit with many of the people who help make Mid-South food scene so interesting, exciting, and tasty. I've been a foodie long before that term was even invented, and for the better part of 30 years, I had the privilege of writing dining reviews for a couple of Little Rock, Arkansas newspapers and then magazines long before the internet gave everyone a chance to be a food critic. But I will say I've learned to love talking about food much more than writing about food. Today on Heaping Spoonful, our guest is Sally Mengel, the co-owner of Loblolly Creamery, creator and purveyor of some of the best ice creams, sorbets, and other sweet treats that will ever pass your lips. If you've ever experienced Loblolly, you know that I am speaking the truth. If you haven't, do your best to get that chance and trust me and then thank me. Welcome, Sally.
Hi.
Glad you are here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. As a close observer of the local food and beverage scene, I have gotten great joy in watching the progression of hometown places like Boulevard Bread, Rocktown Distillery, Diamond Bear Brewery, and so many other craft breweries that have followed, and the long gone and lamented Ken Walker cheese. But few ascendancies, if that's a word, have been as dramatic, impressive, and smile-inducing as the story of Loblolly Creamery. Are you surprised Loblolly has become what it has become?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I knew that selling ice cream was a easier sales game than, selling rice or shelf-stable food or other food items, but I had no idea the support we had in Little Rock and Arkansas for our products.
Yeah. Well, we'll detail that upward trajectory and the expansion of the Loblolly product line in a bit. But first, let's look back. When did the I want to make fantastic ice cream light bulb go off in your head?
Yeah, good question. It kind of came about because we couldn't find ice cream that we were looking for. And so I started making ice cream in college as a college job at Muriel and Sebastian's in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was just like pre-made ice cream. So then fast forward, I graduate college. I'm in Little Rock now. I'm working at the Green Corner store, Shelly Green's eco-friendly gift shop in Soma, and she had an opportunity to open kind of like a food kiosk.
Kind of soda fountain, right?
So yeah, a soda fountain, because it used to, it's the history of that building's really cool. It's in downtown historic area of Little Rock. The building was built in 1906, and it was a pharmacy and soda fountain from 1906 to 1967, supposedly the last pharmacy to have a liquor license, gun license, and wine license.
Wow.
I know it.
Too bad I was too young to be hanging out there.
One-stop shop.
Exactly.
And so it was really cool. We got all these old fixtures or of that period, the marble bar, the wood engraved shelves. So it really looked like an old-timey pharmacy. And so we wanted to do a soda fountain, and she gave me that opportunity to figure out handcrafted sodas, homemade soda syrups. We made our own kombucha for a short-lived amount of time. And then I wanted to find ice cream and do old-fashioned ice cream menu items like ice cream sodas, and I even did egg creams for a little bit. But I couldn't find any ice cream that met our criteria of local, using local products, and all natural in Arkansas. Yeah. So I told Shelly I've made ice cream before, and that's kind of how Loblolly's journey started. Right,
which again, many people go into business with the intention of being in business and being successful, but you went into business. You went into You went into the business because you needed ice cream to make the floats and the other cool stuff that you were going to serve over the soda.
Yeah, and it definitely would have been easier if I just bought a natural product and, across a couple state lines. But for some reason, I wanted it very hyper local and to go to the farmer's market and try to use produce from the farmers that we could, that were in Arkansas.
Sure. And we'll get more to that story in a minute. But again, nobody doesn't like ice cream. As you said, selling ice cream is not hard because at least no person that I've met, or at least no sane person I've met. Did you grow up as an ice cream girl? Did you?
Yeah, totally.
Tell us about your relationship with ice cream as a kid.
So I grew up, my childhood was in north of Boston in Massachusetts. And I remember some nights when my dad was working late, my mom and me would go to the walk-up kind of like the old Sweet and Creams or the walk-up window ice cream places, but in Massachusetts, and we would have a banana split for dinner.
Ooh, that's paradise.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. I think my nostalgia, too, with that is anytime we traveled, we would go to the local ice cream place, and then, I don't know, it was just going to our neighborhood ice cream place was really special, and getting to walk or being close to there was really special. And I just love ice cream.
And so,
I'm obsessed.
In doing my exhaustive research for this episode of Heaping Spoonful, I looked at your LinkedIn profile and I see that you were a co-founder of the Green Bean when you were attending Emory University in Atlanta. And there's some parallels between that venture and Loblolly. Tell our Heaping Spoonful listeners about the Green Bean, what its mission was, and what it did and how it came to be.
One, I need to update my LinkedIn. But when I was in college, I also, obviously I was procrastinating and tried to distract myself from the actual
studying.
Yeah, the actual activity or work that I was there for was, and didn't do great in traditional school, but basically tried to busy myself so I could procrastinate that as much as possible. And there was the sustainability office at Emory just started, and they had student-run grants, and my friend and me applied to start a student-run coffee cart, also because the sourcing of coffee was terrible then, and that was the biggest commodity on a campus was coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of, I'm not going to say what brand it was, but a very basic grocery brand you can find anywhere. Very stale. And so we wanted to bring a local roaster into the campus. And the campus felt like a bubble. It wasn't interacting with the food scene in Atlanta at all, and that was depressing. So I kind of brought it in, and it was really neat to have a student-run business. It was the first one, even though Emory had a very high-ranking business school. But yeah, so I ran a coffee cart, and then I worked at an ice cream store, and I failed my classes.
Yeah, but you did well at your coffee cart. People got better coffee. You learned a little bit about business and running your own business.
Yeah, yeah.
And even though it was made from a mix, you learned more than most people know about making ice cream.
And it didn't click to me I should take business schools. I'm really interested in entrepreneurship. It was just more I loved quality food. I loved the story of food, and I loved creating conversations with food. And I think my love language is service. I could clear a table and I would be quite happy all day.
Yeah, and again, so you meet the folks, your fellow students, and they're getting better coffee than they were going to get otherwise.
Yeah.
And then now they get better ice cream than they would otherwise. But we'll get back around to that. So before we go any further, where did the name Loblolly come from?
Well, the quick answer, it's our state tree is the Loblolly pine.
Okay.
The quick story is that I was trying to figure out a name for the ice cream because I was starting to have to sell it outside of the Green Corner store because people were asking if they could buy it in bulk or for using at their restaurant. So I had to create a business name. I had to apply with the Secretary of State, and I had a contest with my friends. Whoever could come up with a name, they got ice cream for life. And someone came up with Loblolly, and it sounded like I didn't know that was our state tree, and I just thought that was such a funny word and name, and kind of if people know it, it's very resonating with them about, okay, that's Arkansas, but other people don't. They just
kind of whimsical.
Yeah, it sounds like you're eating a mouthful of ice cream or something,
right.
And it has other meanings that are kind of playful, and I just thought that was fun.
So you were making ice cream to sell as a product across the counter at the
just
at the Green Corner store.
Yeah.
And then at some point, as you said, people were asking for it. So I guess you said, well, I got to stick it in a container. So I guess that's when the pints started.
Yeah, and we had pints in the beginning of it too before we opened the shop. Our debut was the Arkansas Cornbread Festival, their first year in 2011. And so we had some pints and said, to get ready for the opening of the soda fountain. But then my friends that were working in the back of house was like, oh, can we have a gallon of vanilla or whatever for our dessert menu? Hillcrest Farmers Market was like, can you sell? I was like, sure, I'll bring a cooler.
Right.
So I just kept saying yes to things, which in hindsight, if you're doing an intentional food business, I wouldn't recommend it because sometimes slow growth is better than just impulsive growth.
But you just figured out the packaging and all of how it had to be made. And you were making it in what, three gallon?
Yeah. And it's really lovely because people are so supportive of cottage businesses here and really handcrafted homemade products. Like it's not scary to people.
Yeah. Well, and I think people just appreciate that it's here and that you're making the effort. So while you are the leader and the public face of Loblolly, you're a co-owner. Who's your partner?
My mom, Laura Frankenstein. She wasn't an original founder or partner, but she quickly became part of it as she was my counsel and support. And my parents have always been part of Loblolly from making cones at the soda fountain or working the truck. And so it was a natural progression that my family just became part of the business.
Sure, and I'm sure you're sort of like your board of directors and help make decisions on things. Because as we'll talk about more, you've had several kind of, forks in the road, or not really, but decisions to make about how we expand our product line or expand our footprint or distribution footprint. And I'm sure having the parents to talk with makes a big difference. So, while Green Corner Store was your storefront, or a portion of Green Corner Store was your storefront. You also, at some point along the way, I think fairly early, had the Loblolly food truck. Where did you get that, and how did that happen? It
was another impulsive decision, but before we decided to get the truck, we were just like using coolers out of my car to sell pints out of a cooler at the farmer's market, and it always felt a little weird, and we couldn't keep the product that cold. So someone had a food truck. I think it was called the Little Rock Food Truck.
Okay.
And they were done and they were selling it and they offered it. And I said, yes.
Yeah. So did you have to go in and it probably had a cooktop or
it had to be gutted. Yeah. It was completely gutted and, we cleaned it up, put the freezer in, and we were good to go. And we also did a Kiva grant for solar panels. So it's a solar powered ice cream truck.
Even better.
Which is nice so you don't have to use the generator all the time.
Yeah. And I've seen the truck at charity events and, at most recently at a Little Rock Convention Visitors Bureau event at the River Market, and I have feasted for free. So that's been your model. You're not one of those trucks that goes down the street ringing a bell and people run out and buy ice cream, right?
Unfortunately, there's a little bit of restriction with the...
just licensing and things?
Yeah, well, food truck rules in Little Rock in Arkansas, but the manufacturer can't do that.
So mostly you use that for dispensing at prearranged events for people who've... The presenting entity has engaged you to come provide ice cream for their
lots
guests.
of weddings, lots of corporate events, lots of birthday parties for kids, and then we just do big festivals or other kind of neighborhood events.
Well, it's a really cool looking truck, got the branding all over it, so it's a great advertisement for you too, without a doubt. Ashley and Ashley's my wife, came to the store many times to get scoops and buy pints of your ice cream. Often there were lines out the door, particularly on pretty days. And if that was, if that situation right there, so you've got you're selling ice cream to some restaurants who want to present it or offer it to their customers.
Yep.
You got a cooler in there with pints and you've got a really booming soda fountain. If that's all Loblolly ever was or was ever meant to be, you would still, I guess, define that reality as success.
Yeah, success for me is doing something you like doing and bringing joy to someone more, giving them more joy than they had before maybe.
Yeah,
that's it.
You said service is your love language.
Maybe I should look at financial success, but...
Well, and you'll get around to that, but But again, for someone who didn't, start out to conquer the whole world and become the next, Ben and Jerry's. I mean, that was success right there, and that's, I have to admit, I came in there and bought pints and loved them and all that. Never thought, hey, maybe this thing someday is going to move next door and all.
I know
that.
You're an OG Loblolly.
Yeah, I definitely will. You can look at me and see that. So you worked out of Green Corner Store about 6 years before moving next door to your own space in 2017.
Yep.
And again, right next door, people know how to find you, much larger footprint. Mm-hmm. Is that something you've been thinking about for a long time, or was it just like, man, we just can't continue to make it happen right here in the Green Corner Store?
Yeah, that was a conversation me and Shelly had a lot, because after a few years, we couldn't have the hours we wanted to for ice cream. She closed at 6 p.m. She needed more floor space for products to sell, and we needed more sitting floor space. So we were like, at one point, I reached a ceiling of what we could sell there. So it was an amazing opportunity when the next door space became available.
Well, and of course, it took a lot of foot traffic out of her store and put it next door. Did she have any reservations about letting you go, or was she supportive?
No, it was a mutually supportive decision, and I think it's helped both of us that we're still close to each other and help each other's businesses still.
Yeah, that's great. Well, listen, thanks to everybody for listening to this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We will be right back in just a bit with Sally Mengel, co-owner of Loblolly Creamery in Little Rock, Arkansas.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
Welcome back to Heaping Spoonful as we continue our conversation with Sally Mengel. There's no doubt that Loblolly Creamery has become one of the most popular, if not the most popular, destination in the booming and growing South Main region of downtown Little Rock, or SOMA as it's affectionately known. Was the standalone Loblolly a huge hit from the day you opened the doors in 2017?
Yeah, it was great. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, you had a built-in...
People came.
People knew you from right next door, and now you had your own storefront. And that area of town draws a lot of folks because there's cool shops. There's, in that same block, you got Moxie, and of course, you got Boulevard Bread, and then across the street. Right. I mean, there's just so much neat stuff.
It's the perfect environment. And with the Bernie's Garden, with the Sunday farmers markets and the events they had there, it was just... the traffic came to us. It was really, we were really fortunate that we just opened in the right spot.
Yeah. So again, my memory of the early Green Corner Store days was that you had 4 to 6 flavors. I mean, I don't know if that's right, but how many flavors do you offer on a typical day now?
Yeah. At the Green Corner Store soda fountain, we had like 10. Now we have 32.
32.
So I think I'm going to pare it down a little bit because I think there's some decision fatigue people have. But of course, when you come in, you get free samples. Yeah. You can try as many as you want. And we try to be sensitive to other people's allergies or intolerances. So we have a lot of non-dairy, ice creams. We have sorbets, and then we have our signatures, all the time flavors, and then we have some limiteds and seasonals. And we always like to put 1 or 2 there that's kind of a thinker, I like to say, makes people think. Like we, in October, did a cheese dip ice cream.
Ooh. Wow, I love cheese dip and I love ice cream, but I have never thought about the two coming together. Yeah, it's like, wow, I think I'd go for the sample before I bought a full.
Exactly, it's just a sample ice cream, to be fair.
Well, again, if this 32 flavors of ice cream and sorbet were all that Loblolly ever created, the story would still be beautiful and tasty. But you've really expanded. So macarons, marshmallows, hot cocoa mixes.
Yeah.
Did that just seem like a natural progression? I mean, baking and making ice cream are not the same at all.
Right. Yeah. We had a small, just one-person baker for a little bit to make our brownies and cookies in-house and
so you make
mix-ins.
So to go in the ice cream.
To go in the ice cream and then to sell at the shop.
Right.
For brownie sundaes and ice cream sandwiches. But then we started making macarons, and it was really just to tide us over for the winter season or our ice cream off season.
So somebody knew how to make those because they're not exactly like making a chocolate chip cookie.
No, they're little French sandwich cookies made with almond flour. So they're gluten-free, which is cool because that opens the door for some people. And they're great party cookies. A lot of people get macaron towers, or you can even get 36 custom flavor macarons. We even do custom ice cream flavors.
Yeah.
And the marshmallows was, and all of these were accidents that just we keep making and they sell. But when we started making waffle cones, we would have holes at the bottom, because we're working on our technique. And so we made homemade marshmallows to put at the bottom of the cone to kind of like stop it up.
Keep the drip.
Yeah. But then people ask like, oh, do you just sell the marshmallow? It's so good. And so, when we were at the soda fountain, we had little cello bags full of mini marshmallows, and they would sell, and we would keep doing it. And then, a gift shop locally or a grocery store would ask if they could sell it. So, amped up the packaging. And now October through December is just, it's marshmallows.
Is it to go into hot chocolate mostly, or do you even know what it's for?
I think s'mores. Yeah. And we do s'mores kits too. We make our own graham cracker, and we use Markham and Fitz chocolate. They're based in Bentonville in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people either eat s'mores or hot cocoa. And I think a lot of gift shops buy them now, and I think that's,
well, it certainly has a longer shelf life and less hassle than no freezers, right? Because I've seen on your website that we ship, but you're talking about shipping your non-ice cream products.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the shipping ice cream territory yet. I've tested that and researched that with other brands, and I still. Like ice cream is made to eat in the moment, and I really like that we are the Arkansas ice cream, and there's great ice cream all over the U.S., and I just want it to be like special for Arkansas.
Well, and to keep the price reasonable. I mean, it's going to cost a lot of money the way you got to have to package it and ship it. So
we're already kind of that artisan gourmet price point.
So even from the earliest days of making 3-gallon batches to sell at the Green Corner Store, you got to have somewhere to make it. So you got a kitchen somewhere?
Yeah. I mean, we used to make ice cream at a church a couple of blocks from the Green Corner Store. And then, we have our own little kitchen, I think like 10 blocks away by MacArthur Park. And it's just hidden in this like condo building, and we're outgrowing it a little bit, but we make about 40 batches, 120 gallons a day of ice cream there, and that's pretty much our ceiling.
And is that also where you make the macarons?
Oh, yeah, we make the macaron. I mean, we have a bakery and confection team now that makes the marshmallows, the cocoa mixes, the macarons, the ice cream cakes, the brownies and the cookies, and full-time macaron person, which is I never thought I would have. And
so is that kitchen going? I mean, it's not going 24/7, but I guess it's going.
Right now, it's just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
We're pretty efficient. It's really impressive with about like 10 people on the team.
10 people on the production team.
Yeah, the whole team, yeah.
Yeah, and so you're putting together the ice cream cakes there, making the cake, putting the ice cream, putting them all together.
And then for the ice cream, we have a base maker that makes the bases from scratch. We have an ice cream churner, and then someone like pinting, someone making all of the toppings and cone batter for the shops.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you make all the ingredients that go in your ice cream. So if you sell something that looks or at least sounds like an Oreo, you don't go to the store and buy a thing of Oreos.
No.
You make them.
We make it. We make that. We make coffee. We make cookie dough. I think it would make my life a lot easier if we just bought it, because you can buy bulk cookie dough. You can go to Benny Keith and buy bulk crushed Oreos. And I've always considered every year just doing that, but everyone.
The commitment is already there. Right.
We're making giant Oreos.
So you got 10 folks who are working in your production facility making all this fabulous stuff.
Yeah.
You got a group that's working in your primary location there on Main Street in downtown Little Rock. You got somebody who's driving pints of ice cream and other things to shops.
Truck. Yep.
So how many total people are involved in the whole Loblolly?
I think almost 40 now. We have a shop in Benton now.
Yeah.
How
did that tell us how that came to be?
It was just a really great relationship with another ice cream store that just carried Loblolly. And so it was a really great wholesale partnership, and they were done and wanted to sell it, and they offered it to us first, and it was like a turnkey business. We couldn't pass it up. Sure. They already had a following, and they carried only Loblolly. So,
and you know how to run an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I never even thought about the fact that there's ice cream shops outside of your own that sell your ice cream.
Oh yeah, there's a lot in Arkansas.
And you're pretty much the exclusive provider in most all.
Oh yeah,
and
that's really impressive.
They buy it by the 3-gallon.
Yeah, they buy this higher priced product. They could easily again go through Benny Keith and buy
pretty good ice cream
brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge compliment that they want Loblolly and that we can bring people to them.
Well, and again, it just, I know that only a certain number of people can get themselves downtown Little Rock into your shop.
Right.
And now they can get your ice cream in Benton. They can get it in other towns. They can get it on the ship. Searcy, Conway.
Springfield, Missouri.
When we're done recording, I'm getting the name of the place in Springfield because I have really good friends who live in Springfield.
Oh, good.
I want to tell them.
Yeah.
To go get some ice cream. Well, yeah, that's really, really interesting. For sure that it's everywhere. So, and you've done a great job. But you were talking about how you've been embraced by the local community, and there's a brotherhood / sisterhood of folks who make artisan products. But I love the bourbon pecan ice cream, which is your take on butter pecan, and it's got bourbon from Rocktown Distillery, which is just a couple of 3 blocks down the street from. Mm-hmm. And you've got other providers of ingredients that are, again, handcrafted Arkansas providers.
Yeah.
Was that just kind of happen that way, or did y'all just say, "Hey, look, let's do business together"?
I think that was a huge focus when we were starting to make the ice cream for Shelly at the Green Corner store, because she does focus on local, organic, sustainable products.
Right.
So yeah, and I think now I'm a little more intentional of like how we can work with them and if this is a good relationship. Like Barnhill Orchards and their frozen berries we use a lot every year.
And I see them at farmers markets and buy them directly from them.
Oh yeah, Fisher Honey. They have a what is it called? But a honey manufacturing spot in North Little Rock. So we get to pick up our 15 gallons of honey every week because we use honey in our base, and it's we just like that better than like corn syrup or other sugar syrups.
Yeah, well, that's really great. And looking through your very well done website, and folks, check it out. www.loblollycreamery.com and get ready to drool because it's a beautiful site. And so, yeah, we've talked about the fact that there are ice cream shops in multiple towns around Arkansas who sell your ice cream. But you also sell it, again, pint or two at a time out of all kinds of places. Like next time I'm in my wife's hometown of Stuttgart, Arkansas, I can get a pint or two of Loblolly, et cetera, and take it to my mother-in-law's to impress her. So you have that relationship with other outlets, and I guess that either have your cookies or have your marshmallows or have other stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing to be supported by other businesses, and it's great that we can directly deliver to them. We have a full-time delivery driver. We're thinking about we might need another truck soon.
Yeah.
Having 2.
They better talk to mom and dad about that. Board of directors gets a vote on that. Yeah. And you have 32 flavors that are offered in your shop. Yep. Are all 32 of those go into pint containers too?
A lot of them are, but mostly... the Little Rock shop's the only one that has 32 flavors, and that's kind of like because it's our flagship, it's our main place, so that's kind of a really special thing that you can come to the Little Rock shop and try all the flavors that we offer. I would say for like pints, it's probably just our signatures and a couple seasonals.
Yeah, and so those are the ones that are shipped to other places.
Yeah.
But you also are sold in like I could go into a grocery store in some places and get it, right?
Yeah. We're in the Little Rock Whole Foods and mom and pop grocery stores. We're not in any like big
like Walmart
chain.
or anything.
No,
that's okay.
Not yet.
Well,
not now.
You certainly couldn't. You couldn't do that out of a 10-person kitchen, right? No. Yeah. So, is it gotten to where a reasonable percentage of your business is things beyond ice cream. I mean, some of these other products, the marshmallows is the big seller, right?
Yeah, marshmallows have definitely. Well, it just helps us during the winter season. I don't think it's a third of our business yet, but ice cream is still our big chunk. But it has definitely grown every year, and we even private label or co-pack for other brands their marshmallows.
Okay, so somebody who wants you to make marshmallows and they hang their own name on it,
Yeah, we started doing that for marshmallows, not for anything else. And we just kind of see what products are in demand and we'll just keep making them. And
sure.
Marshmallows, just like ice cream, you can do different flavors. We have bourbon marshmallows. We had sour watermelon marshmallows for the summer. We get to play with different flavors with marshmallows even.
Either all these creative ideas are coming out of your head or you got a lot of creative people.
A lot of creative people.
Yeah, which is great. Well, thinking about what's possible and what sells. And you've also said you all don't have a habit of saying no. Somebody wants a specialty ice cream for a wedding. Well, hey, we'll make it.
Yep, we'll try.
Yeah. I think that's great. That's the customer comes first.
And then we try to do a lot of nonprofit flavors. Like right now, we're doing a buttered popcorn for the Arkansas Cinema Society.
Ah, great.
We've done things with the Mosaic Templar Cultural Center and Our House and Trust Tree and various nonprofits.
All
and
fabulous organizations.
Having someone else be like, what flavor would you like? Kind of puts the weight off that we have to come up with the flavor.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so before we close, and let's come full circle, kind of back to the earliest days. So if you, and you probably wouldn't, I personally think your ice cream today deserves a rating of a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale. Well, okay, 9.9. So where on the 1 to 10 scale was the ice cream that you were first putting out in 2011?
Our first batch was buttermilk, and it was very chunky, but it still had really great feedback. But I would say it was, compared to our buttermilk now, it was a 5.
Yeah. How quickly did it take you to get to a 6, 7, 8? Did you all figure it out moderately quickly?
I think a couple years. We went to the UPenn ice cream short course. And
tell us about that.
It was just a really fun. Anyone can go. You don't have to be in the ice cream industry, but I would recommend it if you are. It's just a 10-day short course, and it's all about the science.
So it's at the University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all about in
Philadelphia.
Yeah. The background and science of ice cream. Very manufacturing centric, like how to manufacture and what makes a good ice cream product. So that helped us know the balance of sugar and protein and ice crystals and
how to
and all that.
Extend its shelf life, I'm sure. And
yeah.
Well, so I went to ice cream school.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was really fun.
Well, I remember the first big buzz I heard from people about Loblolly was how fantastic the salted caramel ice cream was.
Yes.
And that was back before salted caramel was about as ubiquitous as pumpkin spice.
Right.
I'm sure, I know it was a big seller. What are your big sellers?
Yeah.
What are like your top 3, 4, 5?
Definitely bourbon pecan.
Yes.
And then Arkansas Mud, which is a chocolate ice cream with house-made brownies and house-made marshmallow fluff or cream. Salted caramel's kind of like this, in line with vanilla. So that's like second tier, I would say.
So vanilla's a big one for you too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do shakes with it. Kids, for half a year when we started, I didn't have vanilla because I wanted to be the place that you don't have vanilla, but quickly I had to.
Well, because it's way better vanilla than your standard issue grocery store vanilla.
Yeah, it's one of the most expensive flavors.
Because of the cost of vanilla?
Yeah.
Or vanilla beans?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also.
But I love when people are like, "Oh, I'm just so plain. I want vanilla," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? You have fancy palate.
You're gonna love it." And if I got a thing of Hershey syrup in my hand, I want it on vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, that's a good flavors.
Well, super. Well, it's an amazing story, and you've come so far, and who knows where else you're going to be going. And we may have to do an updated version of this in a couple of years. Well, thank you, Sally, for being the guest today on Heaping Spoonful. Good luck in all you're doing at Loblolly Creamery. I cannot wait for my next visit. And thanks to all of you for listening to Heaping Spoonful. We put new episodes up on the first and third Tuesday of each month, so check those out. Think about going back and hearing some you've missed. And thanks for listening, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.